This is Oliver from Trusted Search Marketing. Today I'm going to talk to you about Google's core web vitals and what they mean. We have a lot of actionable content coming your way, which we believe is essential for your overall SEO strategy in 2022. If you like this video and you'd like to see more, please do us a solid by subscribing to our YouTube channel and clicking the notification bell in order to be notified when we publish more awesome content like this. We have a lot more content coming. We'd also really appreciate it if you give us your thoughts and opinions on future SEO trends in the content below. So, let's get into it. In November of 2022, Google added 3 user experience signals which now make up what we call core web vitals. These signals were added into a ranking algorithm in June of 2021. Core web vitals are essentially made up of 3 metrics: largest contentful paint, first input delay, and cumulative layout shift. These metrics were designed to help Google understand your website's overall page experience and general user experience. Websites that fail to measure well within these metrics risk being showed lower in the search results. So it's important to understand where your website ranks for these metrics, and more importantly, what you can do to fix them. Before we talk about how you can measure your results and what needs to be done to fix them, let's dive a little deeper into the 3 signals Google is measuring. Before we do that, I do want to mention that there are some general user experience fundamentals that you should be aware of. 1. Securing your server with an HTTPS. Having your site secured has been around for about 5 or more years from now, but there are still a lot of sites that are not doing this. It's a relatively easy thing to do and takes very little time. The entire point of HTTPS is that Google wants to ensure that a user's experience and data are secure, so they strongly encourage you to switch from HTTP to HTTPS. Recent data shows that having an HTTPS in the URL correlates to higher rankings, and that's pretty apparent by just looking at the top 10 competitors for any keyword. Try it out for yourself. Another thing, mobile-friendly websites. The requirement for having a responsive or mobile-friendly website has been around for years, and at this point, most websites have followed that trend. However, there are still millions of websites that are not mobile-friendly. Google is so invested in mobile-friendly websites that they've gone so far as to develop a framework for mobile that they call AMP, Accelerated Mobile Pages. The adoption of AMP pages has been slow, but there is no excuse not to have a mobile-friendly website in 2022, so get mobile. Lack of spam and malware. Sounds obvious, right? Google is looking to serve the best experience possible to its users, and having websites that are littered with obstructive pop-up ads or infected with malware do not meet that objective. If you haven't already done so already, you want to take this opportunity to clean up things like malware, common spam, and other mechanisms that like pop-ups or other advertisements that could detract from the positive user experience. All right, now back to core vitals. Let's discuss these 3 metrics in detail. Largest contentful paint, LCP. LCP is essentially a load time metric. It measures how long the page takes to load in the user's browser. This metric shouldn't necessarily be confused with page speed. LCP is designed to measure the real-world experience a user has with your website and generally how they interact with it. To help evaluate this for your website, Google has created a free and easy-to-use tool called Google Page Speed Insights, which give you some guidance on how your website performs. You can also use Google Search Console to see how well your website performs. This can help you identify specific pages with issues on a global site view rather than running pages one by one in the Insights tool. Generally speaking, you want your LCP metric below 2.5 seconds. Anything above 5 seconds should be considered an immediate action item for you and your team to fix. So, how do you fix this? Great question. Unfortunately, this can be a bit of a trial and error situation as well. The Insights tool and other third-party tools can help you identify which part of your page is slowing it down and give you generally a place to start. Usually, I find that page speed is generally affected by more than one issue, a couple issues. For example, large images, videos, or page elements, insufficient hosting, performance issues. Consider upgrading third-party scripts that may be slowing your website down, a lot of different things. The second metric Google uses within the core website vital is called first input delay. It's also known as FID, like I said. This metric measures the amount of time it takes a user to interact with your website. These interactions could be any interaction, but typically include things like using the navigation menu, clicking a link, adding text into a field, or opening a drop-down menu or accordion. The reason this metric is important to Google is it measures the real-world time it takes for a user to interact with the website or actually really use it. This is called a behavioral metric. For some websites where there are no interactions, like a blog, this metric might not be as relevant, but if your website is more of an application, then this metric is extremely important and the one you really want to optimize for. Next one is Cumulative Layout Shift. Cumulative Layout Shift, or CLS, measures the stability of a page as it loads. The metric measures how page elements move around while loading the page. That can create a poor user experience. We've all seen pages that you think have finished loading and then boom, a big image appears in the header and the rest of the content moves down. Super annoying, right? As you can imagine, this metric can also play into a page load time and also affect some of the other metrics we just talked about. Google defines a good CLS as a measurement of 0.1. I find most websites, specifically larger ones, struggle with this. Here are some things you could do to maximize your Cumulative Layout Shift, CLS. 1. Use a different size attribute dimension for images and videos on your page so Google knows exactly how much space the element will need when loading. 2. Make sure your ad elements have a reserved space so that they don't push down the rest of the content as they load. 3. Add your heavier elements below the fold so that your top page isn't pushed down. As I mentioned before, there are a lot of great tools that you can use to evaluate these metrics, including free ones from Google that are available in Search Console. But as you move into 2022, it's a great idea for you to take time to see how your page performance is doing and set up a plan to correct that.